coming to our folder. Same entity framework core I will open. No, I will create another notepad altogether and I will name it as MVC Core, entity framework core with the CRUD operation. Okay, so MVC underscore EF underscore core with CRUD. So CRUD operation I will do using MVC as well as entity framework. So what I will do to reduce the timing, if I will start from the very scratch, it will unnecessarily take time now. So why not we will go with the same solution what we have done last class, isn't it? So I will just copy paste it and I will change it to EF core with CRUD operation. So that migration, everything will be ready now already. Just we have to focus on insert, update, delete this, that, and so on. Just copy pasting. Once everything ready, then I will start recording. So let me open SQL Server as well, parallel. This is little risky area, guys. Currently where we are, if you got neglected, then you are gone. So don't neglect even one day. Parallelly go with me. So MVC with entity framework core with the CRUD operation. And never take technology easily. It will be nightmare for you. Don't take much difficult so that you will get nervous. Don't take much easily so that it will not be big problem later. Take it easy, but yeah, contribute some time. The best thing is that you have recording. So anytime you can refer also. Okay, so I just copy pasted and opened that solution. At the same time, I opened SQL Server. It's opening. So while it's opening, let me start recording and we'll discuss few things. Then we'll go to write the code. One student is logging out, logging in again and again. I don't know what is the network issue. Any problem from my side, guys? All good? Sound and everything good? So EF with CRUD operation. Right. Fetch part, I think we have already done. Out of this, R part already done. So C for create. That means we have to prepare our infrastructure in such a way that we can be able to create some new record. So let's see what kind of operation yesterday we did. I think it's about employee, right? So in repository you can see one function is already written named as this. I'll delete all breakpoints. So get all employees with department ID and all that. Okay, I will minimize this and we'll go for. So here also same right to left. Okay, if anything to be done in the repository, first complete, then abstraction, then controller, then view. Like that sequence you have to go. Database is not coming to picture because database we are not going to do anything. We are going to update from the migration. That's why I'm not going to do anything here. I assume that already yesterday we have migrated database and database is already available. And one table also already made. If you want to add more, you can add more. So can anybody remind me what is the name of the database you have taken? In context class, it would have been my employees, October 20. Okay. So my employees, October 22. Okay, this one. So as of now, there is only one table up to my understanding. employee details. So that employee details only, let's do the CRUD operation today. Okay, so no operation, nothing, because it's not edu.net. So from right hand side towards left hand side, when we come, first thing comes is repository. So first finish repository stuff. Where is that? This is our repository, right? Tell me, if it is insert operation, how we will plan? Already you have done it in edu.net. You can tell me, I will write it. So public, anybody? In this case, string, okay? String means result. Data saved successfully or data not saved, whatever it is, okay? Public string, then I will say insert employee data, right? Within bracket, what should I do? It should be model class always, right? Employee, nobody is practicing that. Remember, as per your performance only, my plan will be there further. If the performance will be like this, then lot of big things I will ignore actually. I will think that this is not their cup of tea. So, because it's not that everything is mentioned in the course, there are many things which is not mentioned in the course of study also. You know, real-time things you cannot limit. So, be active and be visible. Then only I can understand these guys level is little upper side and I have to include lot of additional things. So that will improve my confidence level towards you guys also. So always practice and whenever whatever I'm asking, try to answer also. Okay, so here I will make a variable just for returning the output, string.empty, return message, and for safer side always I advise you guys to go for try catch block. After that you can think what to do, what not to do. So here I put on try catch block also, and now what we need to do, context class is already ready. You can see line number 14, context class object, isn't it? So using context class object only all the operation are done, whether insert, whether update, whether delete, any operation. Okay, sometimes combination of 2-3 things at a time possible. Okay, currently we are in very basic level of entity framework core. That means straightforward things. One table, go ahead and insert. That's it. Multiple table, nothing. So slowly you will go to one-to-one relation, one-to-many relation, etc. That time we'll see, even if you have 2-3 tables, some data has to go to first, some data has to go to second, how to work with that. That also we'll do. But currently only basic operations you are doing, right? Basic CRUD operations. So now we have to insert the data, whatever came in the EMP. First thing you think, is it a view model or it is a model? That is your first question you have to check. If it is a view model, your duty is to take that view model data to the model. After that only your insert operation should happen, because your entity class is this one. So sometimes what happens, my actual entity class is having 4 columns, 10 columns like that, but my view model is bringing some 20 column maybe. Two things concatenate and send it to employee name. First name and last name should be stored in employee name. So like that operation sometimes happens. In that case, what to do? View model will be different, which is for collecting the data from browser, and model will be different, which will be inserting the data into the table. So if that is the case, then you have to collect data from the view model and put it into model. But in this case, what our current case, what we have table structure, same only we are collecting from the browser to controller, controller to repository also, isn't it? If that is the case, then nothing to worry. Simply take this EMP and insert into your context object. See how I'm doing it. I will say underscore context dot. What is our DB set here? Something related to employees, right? So context class dot DB set. dot add. It is a generic collection only. Now, if you take the mouse, you can say DB set of employee. That means what is this DB set? A generic collection. So always generic collection adds the value into it by add function. So inside this, see, intelligent, it is giving EMP. But this is not all. You have to save the changes. This line, where it is adding, if you go to the diagram, I have shown you something called virtual DB. In that virtual DB only, it is adding that employee object. It doesn't mean that in that line, directly it will go and save in the database. So this virtual DB middle one, okay? When we say add function, it took it from browser to repository. From repository, it added to this virtual DB. But it doesn't mean that it will flow to the database. So when it will flow to database, when you do save changes. Sometimes what happens, 4 or 5 table will be there. I want to save in table number 1, I want to save in table number 2 also. Few more data I want to save in table number 3 also. So if it is direct communication with the database like edu.net, then 4 operation means 4 times it will hit to database. Got it or not? Now, if you have 4 operations just like this, one is for adding, one is for modifying, one is for deleting, one is for again something else. So after 4 to 5 operation, one time if you are doing save changes, that refreshed object of entity called employees, which is a DB set, will be directly go and update into the database. That is the beauty of entity framework. But currently what? We don't have 2-3 operation. We have only 1 operation. Na? So right after that 1 operation, I will say, can you please update my real database? From the virtual DB, can you please go and update into the real DB? So in this line only it will hit to the database. So if you have more and more operation, advisable is, imagine here operation number 2, here operation number 3. Who knows, in future we may have multiple operation. That last only do one save changes. So that whatever you made changes to that employees or department or maybe something else, all those things belongs to the virtual DB called context. And one time you go and update it. But again, depends. Sometimes what will happen, you are saying, by first you insert the data into employee table and one auto-generated ID will be created. That ID should be taken and do the second operation. Then in that case, you have to do like this. Okay. Here you make save changes, then do whatever operation you did, and then do the second, third, and fourth. Because in that case, some dependency is there. Like second operation should only happen after first operation will do successfully and get some data which is currently generated employee ID. After that only go and save in the database, department table. Sometimes you will face like that also. In that case, you may have 2-3 save changes. But as long as your requirement says no dependency between operation 1, operation 2 and operation 3, then in one go you can go and save the changes. So I did save changes after this, right? Up to this line, line number 57, if I will ask you, in our situation, inside EMP, there is something called employee ID. You know that, right? If you go to employee, here it is open already. Employee ID is there, na? Employee ID, employee name, department ID. Just a small question I am throwing. Employee ID is already primary key with identity, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, automatically increasing. So that means we are not entering from the browser, na? It is auto-generated in the backend, isn't it? Right. So now, in this case, imagine I will ask you a question here in line number 57. Before this line number 62, anywhere, if I will ask you what is employee ID inside this object, EMP, what will be? Who can say?
0.
So it will be blank.
0, not blank. There is nothing called blank in integer. Okay, it is 0, isn't it? Now, after this save changes, what will happen? After line number 62. Since it is a reference type, here comes the value type versus reference type. little in-depth idea. All class references are reference type. This is called reference of the class, not object of the class. Object of the class I will say when I will say new employee, remember. Okay, this time I didn't say new employee, I say reference. So every reference is reference type. But if I will say integer k, it is not a reference type, it is a value type. But employee EMP, it's a reference type. And reference type maintains only one memory location in your buffer. That means if somebody said that I added and I auto-generated the employee ID previously 1007, it became 1008 now. So suddenly after this line number 62, if you go and check this EMP, you will get that employee ID has automatically reflected here called as 1008. So that will be a clue for you guys to check whether really data has been saved or not. You can say if EMP, guys, after speaking, can you mute because a lot of noise from the background. So I will say EMP.EMPID is greater than 0. If this is the thing, then I can say, why message should be success. Message should be success. Blindly I can say message is success. Why? Because up to this definitely it will be 0. Which one? EMP.employee ID. Because you are not sending from browser, it is auto-generated. But after save changes happens, it's a reference type in one hand, and save changes is updating that object into database, updating or deleting or inserting whatever into database. So the moment it will insert that object into database, don't you think that database will add a new record? And virtual DB is already virtually connected with our DB. Anything updated in DB, virtual DB will get it. So that means my virtual DB called context got that newly generated employee ID or not. So that I'm checking, is it greater than 0? That means 101, 107, 120, whatever it is. If it is so, then I will understand the yes, data might have inserted successfully. Else, something might be wrong. Maybe some parameter missing, maybe that user is already existing, maybe whatever it is reason, but it has not inserted. Then only it will say, still it is 0. So should I say here, failed? And any reason exception came means I will just return a message called exception or some exception, something like that. So just to track whether it is successfully done or some other problem because of which not done or some other exception because of which not done. Now I'm returning the message. So simple, that means 2 lines. I will delete this operation 2, operation 3 and all. Okay. Not required this case. So after this 2 line, my data will be updated and employee ID will be definitely greater than 0 because previously 20 is there, now it will make 21. So if that is greater than 0, then I will say success, otherwise I will say failed. Now abstraction we need, so put this into your abstraction area. So where is that? Go to abstract and put in your interface. We will go to controller. Before that, any question guys here? Any confusion? Why string you understood, all of you? And here why employee? Manish?
Sir, like we are here adding the passing the reference of the employee object, and so whenever we do the add operation, like we are doing adding the 5 employees one after another. So after adding the 5 employees, can we do this save changes operation? Like
why not? Yes. Absolutely. Okay. Imagine you are going to save 10 employees at a time, then don't hit to database 10 times like ADO.NET.
Okay.
You to go on storing in your virtual DB. Okay. And once all stored in virtual DB, then save changes. So that virtual DB knows whom to go and meet. So it will go and meet to that database and it will say that take 10 records at a time. Okay.
Fine. Thank you.
In fact, this is one of the advantage you can say comparing to ADO.NET, isn't it?
Right, sir. In one go, just we are executing this operation.
Absolutely. Hina, you have some question?
Yes, sir. You said that once the context dot save changes happen, so the reference employee gets updated with the data that is there. So this is not clear. Like this is like database thing underscore context. So how this reference will get updated with the employee?
Actually, inside this is a DB set. That means generic list, right? Inside that generic list, always you add by add option. So class type is always a reference type. So anybody will change anywhere in that add function, only it is going to change now. Okay. So the moment it will change in that add function, it will also reflect to this insert employee function because it's a reference type.
Okay.
So source function will get reflected value if target function is changing the value. Okay. That is the behavior of reference type. All right. Now let's go to controller. So for each our controller, already it is open. So we are going for insert operation. So these things you know very well, even better than me. Controller and view, right? If I'm doing also, it is time waste, but okay, let me complete it. So just two method we have to do. Somewhere some hyperlink we have to do, and if you will click that hyperlink, it will come to this create method. And first time it will go blank, nothing else. Simply open the blank screen, and then user will put the data, then submit the button. One HTTP post function will call, and that will take the model object and it's store. Exactly like our ADO.NET stuff, right?
Right.
But still, only one operation I will do. Other operation you do, because one HTTP post operation I will do here. Other operation like edit, etc., that I will give it to you. So public, quickly will do iAction result. Those people who have neglected during ADO.NET, at least now little focus how controller and view things also been done during insert operation. So should I say create? And no parameter is required. Simply I will say return view, and this will be HTTP get,
Right.
HTTP get, and same thing I will copy paste and make HTTP post with one parameter. So HTTP post and one parameter employee, isn't it? Employee emp. We don't have any view model. We have only model across all the layers. So very, very simple. Now what? We have to create one repository object. Already it has been created, and call that function. Okay, systematically, right hand side to left hand side. Repository, abstraction, controller, then view. No need to confuse a lot of things. So over. I call the insert function, and insert function will bring me some string message, and I stored it here. Absolutely fine. Based on this message, I may redirect to some screen or so. So I can say if message dot some two lower dot equals, I will trim it also. We never know if some space has come. Then I'll say equals success, right? Then please redirect to return redirect action, redirect to action. If it is same controller, then simply action method name. If it is different controller, then controller name also have to give. But this time we have only and only one controller, so index action method is available there. Else part you do yourself. Like if failed, which screen to redirect and so on and so forth, that you can do. Now let's go to the view part. So always I suggest before going to create the view, don't forget to rebuild the solution. Sometimes it may show some kind of issue if you have not rebuilt. So why not we'll rebuild? If any issue is there, first of all we'll fix it. Then we'll go for view creation so that we'll not confuse the problem is in C# code or problem is in CSHTML. So two succeeded, that means two projects succeeded. Now go to the view part. So view here, already we have created the folder. Here you have to have one more view called create. So right click, add view and create. You know what, guys? If you have only 2022 with updated our library, then you need not to manually create like me. Okay, you can directly right click and go to, if you right click here and click on create view, then this window will open basically. Okay, this window will open, and no need to manually go here and right click the folder. Directly it will go there and save. Here you can select create also. Why I am not doing this, because if you have multiple version in the same computer, then it may show some conflict. That is known issue basically by Microsoft. Then you have to go and upgrade, delete all old, then upgrade all new. Then once you upgraded here, then your old version will start showing some issue. All these things happens if you have double version, right? So in this case, manually you can create like this, no problem. But if you have only and only 2022 or only 2019, both the cases, no need to do all these manual things. You just go to click on create, automatically it will generate the code for you. That is called scaffolding view. But I'm doing manually so that your coding practice also will be little better, and will not get conflict also here. So how much coding you will do, always it's good na. Auto generated, it's okay. Today it helped us. Tomorrow some customized view customer wants, we are gone. So why not? Always we will keep the habit of coding, right? So I'm creating the blank view and I'm writing the code to take the data. Only 2 text boxes I think we need, not more than that. One is name of the employee, one is department ID of the employee. Okay, come here. @model. Acha, if it is a create screen, it will be enumerable or simple? Simple object.
Simple objects.
Simple object it should be, because one employee data we are typing and submitting, the employee full path. Why full path? Because it belongs to another project altogether now. So employee namespace dot employee. Okay. Then what? I want to generate a form. So using HTML dot begin form. Here what to do? We have to check what is our employee format. Employee format is employee ID, which we are not taking. Leave it. Employee name and department ID. So 2 text boxes I will do and both I will type. So employee name. So P with employee name and 1 text box here @HTML dot. Should we go for standard or should we go for strongly coupled?
Text box.
Text box should be strongly coupled. Okay. So HTML dot text box for something like model object. So model says that model dot what? Employee name.
Employee name.
Similar way we will do for department ID. Practice, guys. Don't only see in the class, because to see in the class it is always easy, but when you practice, really challenges will come. So here should I say department ID, and here I will say department ID, and then go and put a button also. So 2 times break I will put here and I will say 1 button. So input type equal to submit, ID equal to something like btn submit,
name,
and name equal to btn submit. Okay, that is the best practice. And the value equal to, so value equal to submit. Here you go and close the bracket. That's it. Let's go for one HTTP post function as well. So already we have done it. So put a breakpoint and then make sure you have called this from somewhere. So should I go to our home page? Our home page is index page, na? So here somewhere I will put one small hyperlink. So here you go. and say that
நீயே தள்ளி விடா.
என்னால தள்ளவே முடியல, கொஞ்சம் கூட அசைக்க முடியல. நான் என்ன பண்ணேன்? தள்ள முடிஞ்சா உன்னை கூப்பிடுனா தள்ள போறேன்.
I'll say anchor tag, either hyperlink you write directly anchor tag, or you can use HTML helper also. So @HTML dot action link, both are same, anchor tag or MVC action link. So first parameter is what? Part to display, right? Text to display. So click to add a new employee. Make sense? Comma. Second parameter is always what? Action method name. So which action method name it should go? Create action method name. Third parameter is always controller name. But we don't need to go to controller because both are in the same place. Make sense? So this spelling CREAT with case sensitivity, it should be same as this. Small c, capital C also, it will not work. Now what? It should come here first and then it will go and display blank screen, and after displaying that blank screen I will type the data and then put and submit, then it should come to HTTP post, right? This part I think in edu.net you might have practiced already. It is just a repeated work to complete the flow, otherwise I don't think anything new between controller and view. Only repository part little bit new for us. So insert operation, let's practice it, let's debug it. Once done, what I will do, update and delete operation I will do it in the repository, and also I will put in the abstraction. Then I will give you homework for update and delete. You go ahead and do the controller and view part. That should be done, right? Because in edu.net already that is existing. You just copy paste it also, it will work, right? So homework I will give, controller and view part you will do at home, and repository and abstraction I will do for you. So it displayed, first of all, these are the existing data. Then I will click here to go to the add new employee. Make sure you have put a breakpoint to track it. You can see I have put a breakpoint, and go and click here. So let me go there and click here. So it will come to blank page. Then I will submit, then it will go to breakpoint, right? Employee name, I don't know what other name we have already, so let me check and write a new name accordingly. So as long as you are not adding any new structure, guys, no need to migrate every day. If I'm happy with one table only, then why should I migrate again? So in same migration I can proceed with the coding. So I will look A, B, 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 C, C we have already. I will say DTT, okay? And department ID maybe something I will say 4. Let's click on this. It will obviously go and stuck there in the HTTP post. Check whether data has been collected or not. Employee ID 0, which is appropriate, isn't it? Because employee ID we don't need to send it from the front end. Department ID 4 and name is this. So then you go ahead, F10, okay. I didn't press F11, that's why it came to next line, and did also operation. If you see here, can you see success? But if I'll say F11, then it will go obviously to the repository. So F11 it will take to repository, and then F10, and so on. Okay. So currently I will drag it up to last because we have already done one insertion now. So why should I insert again? So just drag it here, somewhere here, and say that message is success, and then this and this. In debugging, if necessary, you can do like this also, right? F10 further, F10 further, 10 further, and then it came to index, and then redirected to index action method. Okay. Now we will go to the repository, and rest of the operations we will see, and I will give you homework for other things, controller and view. So insert, update and delete. If you remember in edu.net also, almost 90% was matching, right? Here also same only. almost similar. Only thing is, somewhere we are adding the object into context, somewhere we'll collect the data for the same and modify a little bit, then update, and so on and so forth. So update operation will have two steps. One is please display what is already existing. After that, user will modify and it will say if it is already modified, then submit it. So this function is based on the department ID, but we are planning it, get the data as per the employee ID, because one employee at a time I want to update, display it on the screen, then user will update it or edit it, then he will submit it. So don't you think here two functions is required for edit? If you remember in edu.net also, for edit operation we have given two functions. Insert operation only one function. So same thing we will do here as well. Okay. Two function. One will be fetch and display based on employee ID, and one will be update the edited data. So we'll go to that, but before that, I think I can see some raise hand. Is it old one or somebody?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead. Anything
Sir, when we inserted the employee, just noticed like when we created the first three record, the ID was 1, 2, and 3, and the last inserted record just
that is basically in options. You have one jump by every session, right? So when you close the session, it will jump by 1,000 basically.
Okay.
So if you make it 0, then it will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. So when session will be over, it will jump by 1,000.
Okay. Right.
Okay, so now let's go for first function called I will supply employee ID, you give me employee data. So who can advise me here? What will be the skeletal structure of the function?
First, we will get the employee object.
This we have two functions here. One function is I will give you employee ID, you give me the object of that employee. That is first function. Second function will be I will give you edited employee object, you save it and return me a message. The first one is this one. So what should I do?
Return type employee.
Employee, very good.
And get employee. Get employee based on employee ID. We will pass them.
Get employee on employee ID, very good. And here, what should we
pass
do?
The parameter employee ID. Integer
employee ID. Absolutely. All right. Now here, to avoid this error, quickly you do this. This intelligence is also saying me. So without delay, I will just return a blank object. Then I will think what to do, what not to do. So here what we are planning. Get the employee based on the employee ID. So what lambda expression we should use here? Anybody? EMP equal to. Okay. Context. Absolutely. Dot
first
employees.
Of employee. The first of
default.
Right.
Okay. And some alias name. Let's say EMP such that. EMP dot
ID is equal to EMP ID.
Correct. Equal to EMP ID. Anybody has some confusion here? Why this line we are writing and all? All good? Able to understand, everybody? Okay. Now I got the employee object based on that employee ID. Then what should I do? I have to return that EMP to the controller. So that is your duty. I'm giving homework. So this one I will put it in the abstraction. So only controller and view part, you refer that edu.net CRUD operation and try to do. Because if everything I will do, then you are simply sitting idly, not even looking into the solution. So where is our abstraction? Abstraction should be in the repository. And here we go and put it. Okay, now second function, let's think. Okay, second function, public string, something like update employee data, and here I will say employee. absolutely. So employee EMPL or something, and here you prepare a string message equal to string.empty. In fact, you could have copy pasted that type of also. So return that string, and here try and catch. Okay. If you see here, line number 89, EMPL, that is updated data, na? Because till then we might have already fetched and display on the screen. Then user might have already changed the modified data. Then he might have already clicked to submit button. That's why this has been executed on the submit button click, isn't it? If that is the case, then don't you think this EMPL is containing updated data? Are you all agree with me? Updated data. Now, inside this EMPL, employee ID will be coming or not coming? Who can say?
It should come, sir.
Yes.
It should come, because based on employee ID only we are changing the data now. So EMPL will be definitely having employee ID, but here same case in insert operation, EMP might not be having employee ID. So based on that, we have to do the operation. That means first operation here is inside this EMPL, one employee ID is there about whom we are going to update, isn't it? So first of all, get the existing object in the virtual DB. Virtual DB is having a strong relation with the actual DB. No problem. You didn't need to bother. You ask everything to context only. It will say, "Bhai, I can help you. Don't worry." So here I have to say to context, "Bhai, inside you there is a DB set called employees, and you might be having a lot of records virtually, not physically, virtually, but I want one record guy whichever is equal to this EMPL data, employee ID. So that you have to collect it first. So how to do employee? I will say old data equal to, okay, old employee data equal to, or existing employee data. Old doesn't seem good. Existing is a positive sense. Existing data equal to underscore context dot employees dot what? First of default, because employee ID is always single data. The EMP is such that EMP dot employee ID equal to
EMPL. EMPL
EMPL dot employee ID. है ना? Done. That means it has collected existing data from the virtual DB. As I said, once database connection established and your this line executed, after that this line executed, it will keep the virtual information whatever your employee is having. Virtually. Random access memory, not the hard disk. So it will check whatever user is expecting from me, is it really available with me? Then why should I hit to database? If it is available, then it will give it to me, existing data. Imagine for a minute it is not available in this. Recently, 2 seconds back only, somebody has inserted from some other computer. Then it is very intelligent. Not having inside this means it will go and ask to database, dear, there is one demand called employee ID 25. Do you have it? It will say, yeah, I have it, take it. So that 25th record, it will come and update it with the existing virtual DB content, right? Then it will say, take it, no problem. Now that data came and sit here. Now what to do? Inside this old existing object, all old data is there now. So that old data, again, it is a reference type only. Don't you think? It is a reference type only. The moment I will update here, don't you think it will update in the virtual DB also? Because virtual DB function is this one and this is our function. So always I say source and target both are interrelated in reference type. Anybody changing in source, it will reflect to target. Anybody changing in target, it will reflect to source. So that means if I will make the changes here, just like this, okay, I will say employee name equal to something, existing data dot employee name equal to something empl dot employee name. Similarly, existing data dot department ID equal to empl dot department ID. Don't you think it will also reflect to that context DB set? Obviously. Right. Only thing is permanently saving in the database, that is missing. So that I have to do at last. So context dot save changes, as simple as that. So in this line only, it will say that Acha, I have done all the updation in the virtual DB. Now it is time to take and save the modified data into the permanent. Imagine you have before saving this few more operation. Do it. At last you do one save changes, so that any insertion, any deletion, any updation, if 5 things has happened in between, all of them they will be permanently reflected in the main database. Don't forget this. If you forget this, what will happen, in application server buffer, it updated, no doubt about it. But in database server, it didn't. So you shut down, came tomorrow, that data is missing in the SQL Server database. So this is actually taking virtual DB, all the changes during this session and updating into the database. So any question here?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, like here, the same object, the member by member, we are assigning the value to the target, source to the target, like EMP name to EMP name, department ID to department ID. Like, so is it possible, like the entire object we can copy from one to the another one?
Possible. There is one DLL called AutoMapper. Okay. So you have to add that AutoMapper DLL, and using AutoMapper, usually what happens if it's 2-3 lines, then it is better to go for like this. If it is something 20 line, 50 line, 30 line, then you know what, AutoMapper also takes some time to initiate. So if it is very less number of columns, then don't use AutoMapper DLL. You use like this only, because it is further faster than AutoMapper. But if it's 20 column, 50 column, 100 column like that, 100 times if you write, not only development efforts, but also time consumption efforts. 1 millisecond means 100 millisecond, right? So in that case, we have a DLL called AutoMapper. It is not MVC concept or anything. It is general, general concept. Any class object, if you want to copy to another class object, making sure that all properties are same, okay, then there is a DLL called AutoMapper DLL. You can make use of it.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, let's put a breakpoint here. Acha, I have not given it in the abstraction. So let me go and put in the abstraction. AutoMapper sometime in future we will do in some requirement, but here it is very small number of lines, so no need. Now, I did both the functions in the repository, right? It is your duty to call them in the right place. This should be added in the HTTP GET. This should be called in the HTTP post, remember. Okay. Same thing if you refer edu.net CRUD operation, easily you can get it. But still, if somebody is not capable, don't be silent. Next class, at the beginning itself, you must tell me, okay? Because these are all, foundation, right? So how much foundation is strong, that much your building will be strong. So don't hesitate. Maximum what I will do, I will tell some words to you. Don't hesitate for that. Okay. So work. Any challenges, come to me. Right? Sri, you have something? You have raised the hand.
Yes, sir. Yesterday I was trying to migrate to the database. I think I missed some of the steps, and I was trying to recall it from your video, but the video was not uploaded on the Google Drive. So if you can please
upload it. Guys, not able to see. I think I have uploaded.
Yes. For
It's uploaded.
yesterday call, it is uploaded.
It is uploaded.
For me, I didn't see that.
Okay, we'll do one thing. Let's make the class over. You be there for 5-10 minutes. I will resolve your problem. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Now let's go for the delete operation. Delete operation. So we will go for delete operation. Same thing only. I think it is almost matching with update. So what I will do is I will copy paste it and I will name it as delete employee data. Okay, now who can help me here about the input and output? Output is string because success fail only we are going to take now. Okay. Achha, those things I'm not writing, guys. That you have to do something like this. After save changes, you do message equal to success. Okay, message equal to success. And inside exception, say message equal to something else like exception or so. Same thing you do here as well. I think in insert I did it already. Only for update and delete you have to do. So here you go and do that. If everything goes well and it came here, then obviously success. If some exception came, then from here itself it will jump to catch block now. So message equal to exception here. What else? Similarly, we will change the here. Anything input you need to change in line number 111?
Employee ID, sir. We need
employee ID, right? Because delete operation always happens based on the primary key. So integer, empid. All right. Then what to do here? Up to this, it is correct only, right? Now here, what do you think should be done? I collected the, in fact, update for update operation only, we need existing data to be collected, isn't it?
ID here. We need to do the correction.
So, how to do? For employee ID, we have to collect first the existing data, right? So, how to collect? Here it will say directly MPID. No need for update, but at least collect the object of the existing data. Because if you remember in generic collection, who remembers, guys, for removing from generic collection, what we do? What function we call? Remove function we call, na? Right. And that remove function takes what in generic collections?
Index.
Either index or respective object, isn't it? Right. Now, index we don't have idea na. If you have index idea, then perhaps this line also not required. Imagine you have 100 employee. How do you know index of that current employee is what? 0 or 1 or what? Nothing. You have no idea. That's why you are saying, chalo, first syntax I will not follow. Index-based manipulation. I will go for object-based manipulation, isn't it? So you collected that employee data object, which is meant for deletion. Then don't you think if I will pass this object in the remove function, it will delete my generic collection data? Because currently you are thinking only generic collection. Database and all, this guy will think, line number 121. I don't bother about database. I only know one thing called context DB, which is having one generic collection called DB set. That is everything for me. So should I say like this, underscore context dot employees dot remove, right? After all, it's a generic collection. Either remove at, remove all, or simply remove, something you have to do. So when I say remove, it will expect one object from me. If I will say remove at, it will expect index from me. So I said, I know already object which has to be object deleted. So please take it and delete it. But it will delete where? From the generic collection in the front end. Okay. Yes. Not in the actual database backend. So the moment you will say save changes, it will say, yes, I did it in the database also. So this is one, and then put this in your abstraction. So from my side, what is supposed to be done? New things I did, which is old things you have already done in ADO.NET, that is controller and view, that part you do, right? Try at least. Once you do, then only you will start doing, right? So do it. If any challenges at the beginning of next class itself, you remind me. I will help you. We will complete this CRUD operation. After that, we'll go for the, little typical things like multiple table we have, sometimes parent to child relation, all those things slowly we will be going forward. Now, other people you can leave. One student, you said you have challenge in the accessing Google Drive. You can stay.
Yes.
I will stop my screen share and I will permit you to share your screen. I will try to know what exact issue you are facing.
Sir,
I permitted you. Can you share your screen? Usually everybody has been mapped with same drive. It's not been easy.
Is the file name MVC with EF Core _2, sir?
Just share the screen. I will check.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe 2 because first
Yes,
time
MVC underscore with EF core underscore 2.
underscore 2, na? Okay.
Okay, sir. That one, yes, sir. Now I can see that one.
Okay. All right.
Thank
All
you.
right. Okay. Bye, guys. See you next class.
Thank you, sir.
எவ்வளோ நத்திங் இருக்குது எத்தனை மணிக்கு போனீங்க ஹாஸ்பிட்டலுக்கு கமாரா